second sight, first-degree murder. And Marjorie Hunt never saw her killer coming. We know that she was killed by one of these 6 weapons. We know that she died in one of 6 rooms in Arlington Grange. But which one? And the murderer, of course, is one of the 6 prime suspects under investigation tonight. Ice-cold but hot-tempered, did Miss Scarlett have a motive for murder? Perhaps Colonel Mustard covered his crooked tracks by guaranteeing Marjorie's silence. A woman of burning ambition, perhaps Mrs. Peacock extinguished the psychic. And what of Professor Plum? A great intellect, but was there murder in mind? Mrs. White is guarding a secret. Did she kill to keep it under wraps? And finally, the Reverend Green. Did he unleash the ultimate evil to conceal his passionate affair? We're here to spring the trap shut. Tonight's Celebrity Detectives. And joining us from the athletic track and moving on to the track of the killer, Tessa Sanderson. And somebody used to gory scenes from Casualty, Jason Riddington. And please welcome their rivals tonight. She used to crack crime in the bill. Tonight could be Nuala Conwell's last case. And finally, someone used to putting things in the frame, snooker star John Virgo. They'll get the chance to eliminate the suspects as we go on. But for starters, who do you think did it? First of all, Tessa and Jason.
Well, Jason and I thought long and hard about this, and we think it was Mrs. Peacock with that crafted brooch of hers and the billiard room.
OK, she looks suitably shocked. If she's innocent, she's every right to be. All right, Nuala and John, who do you think?
Well, in the tarot card reading, they mentioned about a baby, Mrs. White. It could have been Jimmy, it could have been the snooker cue, and it could have been the billiard room.
All right, you at home now have the edge, actually, if you want to. You're about to witness the murder of Marjorie Hunt, unless, of course, you prefer to take on the star detectives, in which case you should look away from the screen now. Okay, you can come back into the room or open your eyes or whatever. Let's begin the questioning. And a word to the wise at this point, the killer is a skilled and intelligent liar. And those wrongly suspected must always, at all times, tell the truth. All right, Tessa and Jason, who would you like to cross-examine first?
First to Reverend Green. We saw you having a passionate kiss at the start. How long have you been having an affair with Mrs. MacDonald?
Well, I do visit Mrs. MacDonald. I visit Alice, I will call her by her Christian name, and her husband is extremely ill. I go to comfort him, as a good clergyman should. And I give Alice whatever comfort she needs. She is a warm, passionate creature. She is quite a handful in her own way.
Thank you for that interesting explanation. You're obviously more than good friends. All right, let's move across now to Nuala and John. Your witness.
Right, the first question that we'd like to ask is Miss Scarlett. You actually weren't at the tarot card reading. You wondered why that was. You're the only person missing.
Well, I'd just been in town to get my car mended, and I'd just rushed back.
You say you'd just gone to have your car mended. You'd
Yes.
actually just done the damage to your car, hadn't you?
No, I'd done the damage. Then I'd phoned about making an appointment.
Right.
And then I was out getting it mended.
Right.
While the tarot card reading was going on.
Thank you, Miss Scarlett. I think that clears that up. All right, Tessa and Jason, your witness.
Thank you. Mrs. Peacock.
Good evening.
Good evening. Now, at the start of the film, we saw you throw a letter into the fire, and you were rather angry when you did it. What was in the letter, please?
It was a ghastly bank statement, written and addressed in red ink.
Oh, dear.
When I get into muddy waters financially, I simply turn to the fire and use it as a filing cabinet and toss everything into it.
Thank you for that. Right, Nuala and John, your question.
Professor Plum, yourself and Colonel Mustard were in the billiard room. Having watched you played a couple of shots, did you ever get out of there?
No, we went on playing for some time, really, and because, well, I'm not a terribly expert player, and as you can see, Colonel Mustard is just a lucky player. So we went on playing for a considerable time.
All right, thank you. Tessa, Jason.
Colonel Mustard. tell us the whole story about the counterfeit money.
One has, in one's experience as a military man, come across a few shady characters. One of these was the Wittgenstein organisation, which was buying some army surplus from me. And one of their agents had sent some counterfeit money. So I asked my good friend, Sergeant Major, as opposed to Sergeant Major, to sort it out.
When you referred to practicing bayonet drill, Colonel, were you speaking metaphorically or literally?
Just asking him to put a slight pressure on him.
Give him a bit of a...
Yes,
a
bit
jab.
of prod up the old Jacksy.
Thank you for the army terminology. Right, Nuala and John.
Right, this is a question for Mrs. White. The first extraordinary thing, Mrs. White, is that you had poison in your kitchen next to the parmesan
Well, we
cheese.
have rats in an old house like that.
Yes, well, we understand that, but you
Yeah.
actually did put it in the dish, and then you were told about it.
Only absent-mindedly.
Yes, but you didn't throw the dish away. You continued to
Well, no, I
actually
put cheese
prepare
on
it.
top, and I hope nobody will notice.
How long have you been a cook for, Mrs. White?
Oh, all my life I've always been able to cook. That's why I'm so good now.
Yes. So we noticed, thank you. Our detectives have to make a deduction now, so Tessa and Jason, who did it, where, and what with?
We're still going to go with Mrs. Peacock, that wicked brooch, and billiard room.
Billiard room, okay. Nuala and John.
We're going for,
Miss Scarlett,
I don't give a damn.
with the loo chain,
The loo chain.
yes,
The loo chain
and the kitchen.
and the
yes.
kitchen.
All right, let's go back to Tessa and Jason. You said the billiard room, you think the brooch with a long pin behind it, and you're accusing Mrs. Peacock. None out of three. None of them are right, I'm afraid. None at all. And Nuala and John, you said the kitchen, as we said the loo chain, and you're accusing Miss Scarlett. 1 out of 3. 1 out of 3 is right. I cannot tell you which one, though. All right, the noose will be tightening after the break when we'll look at some very important new evidence that's just come in. So join us again in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much and welcome back to Cluedo, where we're still trying to solve the murder of psychic Marjorie Hunt. Let's take a look at the progress so far. We began with 6 rooms, 6 weapons, and of course 6 suspects. Nuala and John said that the murder was committed in the kitchen with the loo chain and that the killer was Miss Scarlett. Now, one of those 3 deductions was correct. Thanks to Tessa and Jason's completely incorrect deduction, we can now eliminate from the inquiries the billiard room, the brooch, and Mrs. Peacock. So, Mrs. Peacock, it is my pleasure to tell you that you're cleared and there's not a stain on your character.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Very soon the net will begin to close on the killer, but first, some new evidence which has just come to light.
I'll get the table set up then.
Yes, I'll join you. There's a phone call I have to make.
Oh, this is Alice MacDonald here. Is the vicar there? I need to see him right away.
All right, back to the suspects and the interrogation. Each answer that they give will be followed by a deduction. So, Nuala and John, was that little piece of evidence any help to you at all?
Well, it was a bit confusing. Well, while we're trying to digest that, I'd like to ask Colonel Mustard another question.
Right.
What happened to the loo chain?
Oh, well, as you saw, I took it to Mrs. Peacock to complain about the state of the plumbing. She was looking rather suspicious, so I left. And as far as I remember, I put it down on the billiard table, and I think Professor Plum might have picked it up. He thinks he's a bit of a dab hand at inventions and was probably going to use it for some sort of ghastly new creation of his.
Or maybe something else, implicating a friend, aren't we? All right, let's have a deduction.
Well, despite what we've heard, Richard, I think we're going to stick with Miss Scarlett. And we think that her weapon was the letter opener.
Yes.
And we think that she did it in the study.
Right, you're saying the study, the letter opener, and Miss Scarlett
Yes.
being the killer. 1 out of 3.